In today's Ukraine, the sky is the people's enemy. Huge explosions in Kyiv overnight, the Ukrainian government claiming their air defenses struck down Russian missiles. This residential block on the city's outskirts was also destroyed. In the town of Zhytomyr, a similar fate.
I hope that my wife was dead fast. That in this moment my wife in heaven and everything was perfect in her life.
Yet Ukraine's president, Volodymyr Zelensky, remains defiant. We are beating them off. Our soldiers, our border guards, our militias, he says. Even ordinary farmers are capturing Russian soldiers daily, and they all say the same thing. They don't know why they're here. Captured Russian soldiers like this young man. When these Ukrainians help him call his mother, he bursts into tears. It's a fiery resistance that's stunned Russia and the world. The Ukrainian government has even issued instructions for ordinary civilians to make Molotov cocktails, like the Pravda brewery. They switched from making craft beer to craft ballistics, says director Taras Muselko.
Is that Putin there?
Yeah, you have Putin here holding a nuclear bomb, and the soldiers and the Russian trucks with Russian flag and covered with blood coming here. We need to be aware and we need to be prepared to defend our families, to defend our homes.
The brewery is also forging hedgehogs, sharpened steel beams that can stop tanks dead in their tracks, and these nasty little welcome mats called stingers, which can blow out military tires.
I see you with the Molotov cocktail and I see the Russians with tanks. It feels like David and Goliath.
Yeah, actually we have World War III here now in 21st century, and we stand against the huge army, but we will stand to the last.
Among those standing, Ukraine's newest recruits. Just a week ago, few Ukrainians expected Russia would actually invade. Now they're the ones pulling the trigger.
And despite Ukraine's resolve, Russia continues to tighten the noose, specifically in the south, as it tries to cut Ukraine off from all of its seaports, not to mention critical supplies. Vlad, Anne-Marie?
And Chris, you're joining us on the phone right now. How does Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 factor into the military targeting of Ukrainian cities all along the Black Sea?
Well, Crimea is in the south, so that annexation in 2014 positioned Putin and his military to mobilize and to be in the right place at the right time for this attack in 2022. So they've been able to move up the Black Sea and take over areas like Kherson and then move closer and closer to the north. We also know that in 2014, Putin supported Russian separatists in eastern Ukraine. And then in the north, you have that massive convoy of approximately 190,000 troops moving towards Kyiv. If they're able to connect all three of those forces, then they'll essentially have all of eastern Ukraine in their hands, and they can start pushing west. And in the meantime, we're seeing the effects of that. We're seeing more and more indiscriminate bombing, and that's playing out on civilians. We're seeing civilians leave the country in a mass exodus right now.
And you are in Lviv, which is about 60 miles from Poland's border. What have you been seeing in the last 24 hours?
Well, we're seeing that mass exodus take place. According to the United Nations, more than 1 million refugees have already fled across Ukraine's borders, so that's into countries like Poland. But that is just the tip of the iceberg, because the European Union expects that more than 7 million people will be displaced in total. So that's millions more who are internally displaced. And so they're coming to places like Western Ukraine, like here in Lviv, to seek shelter. But that means separating from family oftentimes, because the women and children are able to seek shelter, or they're able to leave the country, while the men have to stay behind, because anybody between the ages of 18 and 60 has to be available for military service. All of this is leading towards a growing amount of hatred for Vladimir Putin, and it's going to make it extremely impossible, according to military analysts, for him to hold this territory over any long period of time, as the Soviet Union learned in Afghanistan, as the United States learned in Afghanistan. Afghanistan. If you don't have the support of the locals, especially over a vast territory like Ukraine, I mean, there's more than 40 million people here, you might win the war, but it could be a Pyrrhic victory, and you might not be able to hold that territory for very long.
That is a great observation, Chris. Occupation is an entirely different thing. You can bombard an area and take over, but can you stay there? I don't know about that. Hey, Chris, thank you very much. Stay safe, okay?
Thanks, guys.